and this is being recorded. I'm going to share the screen, and then I'm going to open up my presentation. All of you can see, right? And all right, everyone can see my presentation. In fact, I cannot even see your chat. I might even. So do not even ask me any question during presentation. After the this 30-minute presentation, then you may ask me a couple of quick questions. Otherwise, okay. All right, let's go on. All right, so this this is the best kept secret in real estate. What is it? It's a government 5% down VA foreclosures. VA stands for Veterans Administration. All right, welcome. Again, this presentation is being recorded for future use. All right, again, my name is Seewing Yee, and a brief background. I have a bachelor's in accounting, master's in taxation, and I'm a California licensed real estate broker. I live in the Bay Area, in the East Bay for many, many years. Well, 30 years to be exact. And I own the Yee Real Estate Network. Is an investment club here in Northern California. All right, so, and since I'm talking about U.S. government via foreclosure, what's the best person to talk about is someone that have unique experience to talk about this. So as you can see, this picture is I was stationed in Korea back in 1983, long time ago. So yes, I've been in the U.S. Army for 20 years, active duty. I retired in 2002. Now I have a second and third profession, if you will. So I retired with 20 years of service, receiving a full military pension and medical benefits and all the other additional benefits that, in addition, I'll give you more benefits that I was able to obtain, plus how you can benefit from learning, from implementing potentially this very unique foreclosure investing methodology. All right, so in 1991, I bought my first home in the Bay Area with the government VA loan, because if anybody that's been in military, one of the great benefits you can buy with a 0% down payment. I repeat, as an ex-military member, I was able to, I qualified to buy a house with a 0% down, with a VA loan, Veteran Administration loan, 0% down, which is amazing benefit. So 1991, so long time ago. And then I bought my second home in Bay Area as well in 2002. Once again, I can reuse my VA loan over and over again. Isn't it amazing? Absolutely amazing. So in 2002, I bought my second home in the San Francisco Bay Area with a VA loan, 0% down. Wait, it's not over yet. And then, 4 years ago, I bought my vacation home in Honolulu, Hawaii, once again, with VA loan, with a very minimal down. So suffice to say, I do have a lot of experience with the government type of strategies. So needless to say, everybody knows that Bay Area real estate over the past 5, 10, 20, 30 years have appreciated tremendously. So this type of leveraging buying house will allow me to be where I am right now, to be pretty much achieve financial freedom. But I enjoy what I'm doing. Still, I can pretty much do what I'm doing, helping people like you out there for the rest of my life, even living the retirement lifestyle, if you will, right now. But I still spend time to helping investors like yourself to achieve your own goals. All right, so the conditions of the current real estate market is such that is very, very interesting. So real estate market is very strong right now in light of the pandemic, which is pretty amazing. So wait a minute. Okay, let's. I'm sorry, I went ahead of myself. Okay, number one is the demand of houses has far exceeded supply due to low inventory and historical low interest rate. We all know that. So very, very, very interesting dynamic. On the one hand, we have, the pandemic crisis. On the other hand, we have a booming real estate market, if you will, all across the country, right? Even including Bay Area. So number two, single family homes are the most attractive asset class. According to a lot of people, especially Warren Buffett. If you ever heard of Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, one of the richest men in the world. Anyway, so Warren Buffett also believed in buying single-family home as an asset class, residential investing. Okay, number three, rental market is very, very strong, as I alluded to last week's presentation. There are more renters than ever before, even before the pandemic, and there will be many more renters will be renting after the pandemic is over. So what does that mean? That means you as a potential landlord, if you would own rental properties, you are in good shape with respect to getting a tenant to rent your home on a consistent basis with very low vacancies and all that stuff, right? All right, number four, and just like because of low inventory all over the country, really, you're going to expect, no matter what kind of house you buy, whether you're going to buy a house for owner-occupied a situation, or whether you're going to buy investment properties in wherever you want to buy, locally or out of state, we expect to see multiple offers on many homes, especially in good areas, especially in good affordable areas, in the areas that we discussed already last week. So, all right, so cash flow is all about cash flow. It's all about meeting the rent to value ratio, which is around 1% or slightly less, like 0.07 or 0.0 or 1% rent to value ratio, right? So 1% ratio means if you're going to buy a $100,000 property, you expect the monthly rent to be around $1,000. Around 800 to 1,000 per month before any deductions. Does that make sense? Okay. So yep, expect multiple offers. That's the way it is. So a potential investor had to really pull the trigger to buy any kind of property, especially real good ones, because there's a lot of competitions out there. So who are the competitions? Well, the competition you're competing against investors from the U.S. and foreign country that have all cash, that have deep pockets, right? They might offer all cash, and they might win on that scenario. But of course, the Wall Street hedge funds always comes back to the market in a attractive conditions that we are facing right now, and they have a lot of investor money to buy all these good rental properties in bulk purchases, all cash. So a lot of competition, but not to say that you won't, not to say you have no chance, but you do have a chance. You have to be very, very persistent to buy any kind of property, whether it's turnkey properties, whether it's a property listed in a multiple listing service, it does not matter. So all over the country, pretty much all 50 states, they are low inventory and amazing lowest historic interest rate ever. All right, so these two factors is making real estate market very, very strong right now in light of the crisis that we're facing. All right, so let me see. Okay, so as investors, how can we compete right? I don't want to tell you that as an investor, whether you're a beginner or not, I'm not saying that you have no chance, but you do have a chance. So, uh, especially down the road. So, therefore, VA foreclosures is a very small niche market, right? Niche, N-I-C-H-E. So why VA foreclosure is a strong possibility? I'm not saying just to focus on VA foreclosures, but as I taught you last week, as I taught you, buying turnkey properties out of state in good areas, mainly in Texas and Florida and few other Midwest markets. Those are good areas. Those are good foundation for your real estate investment portfolio acquisition, if you will. But secondarily, for those of you that qualify, and I'll show you the qualification, VA foreclosures is under the radar. It is, you could say, the military's top secret weapon. Okay, that's right. It is a top secret weapon because you pay me this small fee to attend here. Yeah, so you're getting a lot of value because it's unknown. So why is this the best kept secret? Why VA foreclosure the best kept secret? And the answers are, most investors, the mainstream real estate investors, if you will, are unaware that this particular real estate investment niche, and it's not a well promoted program. The government does not promote this program to the masses, right? So the government Veteran Administration does not promote it, and the mass media is not privileged with access to available information. So why VA foreclosure? What's the background behind it? See, as a military veteran, one can buy, just like myself, a owner-occupied property that purchased by military veterans through the Department of Veteran Affairs. And they were purchased with 0% down payment by veterans. Veterans means ex-military people that, fulfill 2 or 3 years of the initial service obligation, then they leave the service, they become a veteran. Some military people like myself, stay for the duration, stay for at least 20 years, and then they get the full military pension forever, for life. And then the others are, yeah, so that's pretty much it. All right, so U.S. service members, whether they're currently active duty or retire or veterans, are also impacted by their personal financial crisis. But even not taking into consideration what's happening in the past 9 months with the pandemic situation, on a historical basis, those VA owner-occupied homeowners, for various reasons, like due to divorce or disability or death, or wow, there's 3 Ds: divorce, disability, and death. Triple Ds. All those factors will cause someone to let go of their properties, right? Especially when you buy with a 0% down. So there's so little skin in the game, if you will, right? So it's not, sometimes it's not too hard for when a military person, veteran, to buy a property 0% down. If there's a slight downturn associated with the area where they purchase a property at, then they might be upside down pretty quickly, right? Whereby upside down means the mortgage balance is higher than the value of the home, makes the property upside down, quote, end quote. Does it make sense? So because of this personal financial crisis, there are exacerbated by the pandemic crisis, right? So you're going to see more VA foreclosures, properties going to come down the pipe, if you will, right? So yeah, that's what's happening. So what now? Historically, this kind of VA foreclosure buying opportunity is only available to the general public at select times during the past several decades. Now is one of those times where the VA property will be releasing their inventory to the general public, you folks out there, for bidding. Right now, just like the people that are holding federal backed mortgages, like a Fannie Mae lending guideline, the mainstream mortgages, like, you may not know, there are more moratorium for foreclosing on someone. So the VA, the Veteran Administration Department, the federal government are no different. They are suspending foreclosures on the military service members, at least until December 31st, 2020, right? Which is a few more months. Now, we don't know what's gonna happen when this moratorium expires, December 31st, 2020, a few months away. Then you have to ask yourself, are they going to, depending on what's going on with the vaccine, depending on what's going on with the economy, the US government across all properties, not just VAs, they are this time, unlike 2008 financial crisis, real estate crisis, this time the US government is fighting very, very hard to prevent a real estate crisis. So they may extend the moratorium beyond December 31st, 2020. I suspect they may very well do so. How much longer? What's the extension? No one knows, right? I mean, no one have a crystal ball. So I suspect perhaps there's 50-50 chance that may happen. If the vaccine is in place by the end of this year or the first quarter of 2021, next year, then most likely they're not going to extend the moratorium on any foreclosures, including VAs. Then, if that's the case, the best case scenario, if they're not going to extend the moratorium beyond the end of the year, then the first quarter of next year will be, we as a regular investors have the opportunity to target VA foreclosures. And the VA foreclosures are available in all 50 states, right? Because those military veterans, they buy homes in wherever they own, where they live, right? So, so although on one hand, you have the opportunity to buy potentially VA foreclosures in all 50 states, obviously is not that easy, right? You want to buy, just like any other real estate properties, especially when I taught you earlier, you buy in affordable markets where you can cash flow with 5% down, 20% down, whatever, right? So I will only narrow it down in several areas which I recommend to buying and disregard all other areas because they do not meet not only my numbers, the numbers does not make sense, right? So I'll go with that more, but you have the ability to buy with 5% down. You know how intriguing that is? Most of the time, as a real estate investor, when you buy an investment property of any kind, most of the time you need 25% down payment. 25% or more down payment is the typical traditional down payment associated with buying investment property. But in this unique situation with this VA foreclosures, all you need is 5% down. Although you can do more and all that, but you see by using the less of your money to leverage your asset, your money in this way, give you potentially a higher return. All right, so I'm gonna just focus on, because lack of time, however, the top 4 markets, which clearly, to me, it makes sense to buy is, you know what they are, right? Are you guys good in geography? Number 1 is Florida. Number 2 is Texas. Number 3 is North Carolina. Number 4 is Virginia. So although there are other pockets to analyze, to pull the trigger for via foreclosures, my personal top 4 is this 4 stick. So let's say we're coming to first quarter 2021. First quarter means January to April, right? January 1st to April 30th. The first, I'm sorry, quarter January 1st to 31 March. The best case scenario. So I see a good number. I'm not going to say a wave of foreclosure. I do not like to use the word wave. I do not believe there's a wave of real estate foreclosures, not just VA coming down the pike. No, I believe in this foreclosure market coming up next few years is not going to be fantastic, if you will. It's not like the 2008 all over again. No. Okay, that's all I have to say. I'm not going to elaborate. It'll take me 2 hours to elaborate why the real estate market this time out will be a lot better than back in the 2008 real estate crisis. All right. So again, out of these top 4 sticks, I will one can find other opportunities to buy via foreclosures, but mostly you should concentrate on the South and the Southeast. Just like buying any great cash flow, good markets, South and Southeast is the way to go. Do not buy in the West. You could buy the Midwest, you know what I mean? Midwest, right? Midwest is Ohio, Kentucky, Illinois, Tennessee, right? Missouri, Midwest. Midwest is a good area because the cost is very low, the housing cost that is, so you can cash flow. But South and Southeast clearly is the best area to target, whether you buy foreclosures or regular investment properties, right? And don't buy any properties west of the Mississippi. You cut on this map, you cut off half of the map to the west. I say it again, read my lips. Do not buy rental properties in the left portion of the U.S. map. Okay, right? All right. Okay, I rest my case. So buying tips. Okay, I need my glasses. You buying via foreclosures where there's a heavy concentration of military bases, Army, Air Force, Marine, and Navy. Okay, and where the locations are conducive to a growing economy and high concentration of potential renters, right? Like I said, South and Southeast. Okay, so you have to ask yourself, okay, Mr. Yee, I have my certain set of circumstances. I'm a newbie investor, which I guess most of you are, or I'm somewhat of an experienced investor. I may own a home in the Bay Area, I may not, or I may have a rental property in the Bay Area currently. How can I qualify to get into this niche? Well, here are the answers. Drum roll, please. All right. So how you qualify? You do not need to be a military veteran to buy a VA foreclosure. That's one benefit. Again, you can only put 5% down. The loan you're gonna get is not a Fannie Mae lending guideline. It's not a mainstream investment loan. You're using a very specialized loan. It's called vendor financing, quote and quote, vendor financing. 5% down. And believe it or not, you know what's the interest rate? Interest rate right now is 3%. 3% for investors, which is amazing, amazing, amazing. I don't have to, I keep repeating myself. Sounds like a broken record, historical rate. So allow you to cash flow, right? Make your mortgage payment lower, and you can collect more rent as a result. So fully amortized loan, no PMI, and then, right, no private mortgage insurance. So, ideally, you qualify for the loan, right? Just like any other conventional loan, you have a regular good job, you have a good W-2 income, low debt to income ratio, debt to income ratio, and then good credit score, hopefully above 700. You have the down payment available, those kind of things, right? All right, then, so assuming you qualify, although 5% down is the minimum, you could very well put more than 5% if you want, or you have the discretion. By the way, with the VA foreclosures, they are in an open market, okay? They exist in a multiple listing service, so they are available to the general public. It's just that they're very hard to find unless you have a specific system that would allow you to have access of this VA foreclosure inventory from all the 50 states, right? So very few people, very few real estate experts out there, very few real estate so-called gurus out there knows about VA foreclosures. Very, very few. So that's the way it is. All right, so if you can find those individuals or individual that you can access their system, then it'll make your job a lot easier, because if you could on your own try to find these kind of properties, here's the problem. When you buy any investment property in an open market, in a multiple listing service, you have to rely on the local the realtor, the local real estate broker. You have to rely on the property management in a specific location. You have to rely on the contractor that can fix your house and all that. So yeah, there's a risk associated with it, right? Just like risk of doing any investment. So you have to balance the risk reward situation. So each and every one of you sitting out there, you have to understand, do you want to do this? Do you understand the risk involved? Do you understand the benefit involved? Do you qualify? So I'll discuss more about it. So it's not for everybody, but for those of you that qualify and have the motivation and the discipline and the commitment to do this kind of system, then you will be a happy camper. All right, so let me see what else I have to say. No restrictions. By the way, when you use this vending financing, this kind of VA mortgages, these specialized VA mortgages to buy VA foreclosures, there are no limit. So when you buy regular investment properties, the Fannie Mae mainstream guideline only allow you to 10 mortgages to buy 1 to 4 units. I say it again, you know that, right? Some of you been in the game, is an experienced investor. You know the Fannie Mae lending guideline, 20 to 25% down payment, if you will, you can only buy with 10 mortgages. That's it. When you reach the 10 mortgages, you cannot qualify to buy any more investment properties, a single family home to 4 units with the Fannie Mae favorable lending guideline and their low interest rate. So you have to go, beyond 10 mortgages, including your home mortgage, if you will. Then you have to go into, if you want to continue to buy more, you have to go through commercial investing, which is 5 units or higher, which I recommend for most of you. Don't do it. Or you got to go to some private lending, some portfolio lending to go beyond the 10 mortgages, because the portfolio lending and private lending with higher interest rate, a lot higher. I don't know exactly, and more stringent requirement, right? Anyway, so you get the idea? All right. Let me see what else I have to say. So therefore, when you use VA mortgages, the vending financing, if you will, you can buy unlimited VA foreclosure properties, unlimited with those associated with the 5% down mortgages, if you qualify, if you have enough money to buy each property. You know what I'm saying? So that's another great benefit. All right, so here are the challenges, right? So when those VA foreclosures come into the market, you do your quick due diligence. again, they go through the multiple listing service. So when a good property in a good location, you only have 24 to 48 hours to make a decision, to submit a bid. You are bidding against the other potential buyers for that particular VA foreclosed property that just come into the market. So again, so what I'm trying to say is, if you are physically in California, if you want to buy, if you target a property in whatever, in Texas, you have to buy sight unseen. Physically, you cannot go there. Not that you could right now of the pandemic, right? You have to do your research online, just like anything else, right? Any property you buy these days, not only via foreclosures, whether it's turnkey properties or what have you, you're gonna buy sight unseen. You're gonna buy at the comfort of your home. Okay, social distancing, remote. You talk about remote working from now on. We talk about remote investing as well. So everything has changed. Okay, so so sounds a little bit scary, but no, not really. If you have a good system, if you know the specific neighborhood, the metrics, the demographics of a particular neighborhood where the VA foreclosures are located, you've done the numbers works, you know the local property management team, the rehab team locally, and the selling realtor that can help you on the ground, it works. Okay, I've proven it because I've done it for more than 10 years of helping investors to buy VA foreclosures with 5% down. All right, so, all right. And then when you make a bid, I will tell you based on experience, most likely you have to make a 5 to 10 bid before you're able to consummate one transaction. So you have a 10 to 15% chance when you submit an offer on a particular VA foreclosure property, your offer will be accepted. That's the game to play. That is you have to play the numbers game. So it's quite involved than normal when you buy a turnkey rental properties. As I taught you prior, that's much easier. Just pros and cons. But I know most of you work full time, but you can still do it, right? But you have to spend more time to make it work. So you can go through a lot of frustrations and what have you. But if you're persistent, you will get what you want. You will be able to find the property, via foreclosure property that you want. So if your offer gets accepted, by the way, then you go through financing, vendor financing. Assuming you qualify, then you do when you buy foreclosure, and via foreclosures are no different. You buy as is. You look at the property, you look at the picture, and then interior, exterior, then you make a decision, then you bid accordingly, then it's not, okay, it's not like you have a full commitment. When your offer get accepted by the VA, right, against other buyers, then that's fine. You write the contract up, you pay your earnest deposit, a couple $1,000, I don't know. Then you reserve the property, then it's contingent upon you obtaining an inspection report. All right. So you pay for $300 to $500 to obtain an inspection report to ensure the property is good, right? The foundation, the electrical system, everything is good. But the property does not come completely turnkey. Those properties, although are relatively new, very good property, if you pick the right one, that is, right? High quality property, relatively new, in a good neighborhood, but via foreclosures, after the inspection report, you have to decide what's the estimated cost. So my threshold, if the repair cost, like typically, if the estimated repair cost after the inspection report is like 10 grand or less, $10,000 or less, that is your threshold. If the property requires more than $10,000 of repair, give or take, then most likely you might want to walk away from the property. So again, even though you pay your earnest deposit, even though you reserve on the property, after the inspection, a few weeks later, if you do not like the condition of the property, for whatever reason, including, too costly, then you can walk away without any repercussions. Do you understand me? So everything is contingent. So if you, after you pay for the inspection report and the report indicates that the repair cost is only 10 grand or less, like for example, we paint, all you need is like change the carpet or paint the walls or change the appliances here and there, whatever, that should be less than 10 grand, right? I mean, if the inspection indicates that there's a foundation issues, electrical system issue, right? Those you don't want that, right? But the VA foreclosure of the VA, the Department of Veterans Affairs already done a lot of the work. They released this kind of VA foreclosures to the open market with presumably with very good condition. Okay, we're almost ready to go. Just the criteria is cosmetic repair. That's what's all about, cosmetic repair. Okay, so that's your criteria. So this example right now, so the prices, the VA foreclosure you should target is anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000 today. Okay, that is your criteria. That is your benchmark, if you will. So I'm gonna go to the middle ground. I'm gonna give you an example of a typical properties and look at the numbers. All right. So the typical average price of a foreclosure property you could potentially pursue is around 150,000. So you put 5% down or more, but the less the better. Assuming on this property 150K, look, go with the 1% rule, 1% rent to value ratio. So your gross monthly rental projection associated with a single family home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, like 1,500 square foot, whatever, this 150K, you should expect to get the projected rent is like anywhere from $1,200 to $1,400. That is a realistic rent projection associated with this price. Okay, does that make sense? I'm sure it does. All right, so with that in mind, let me go over the total out of pocket for you to buy a typical VA foreclosure property. 5% down, multiplied by 150,000 equals 7,500. Then your closing cost around 4,000, and the estimated rehab cost out of your pocket is another 10 grand. So total out of pocket is 21,500, right? So take a step back, look at the high level. With around 20 grand total out of pocket, this is an ideal situation. You could, with 20 grand, you can buy yourself an income producing real estate asset for 150,000. That's what you call tremendous leverage. And then if you're gonna get the rent for 1,200 to 1,300, maybe even a little bit more, at 5% down, at 3% interest rate on your mortgage, right? Let me help you from a high level crunch the numbers. Then you factor in the monthly real estate taxes, right? Of the real estate taxes typically around 1% of the purchase price. So your annual property tax maybe $1,500. So monthly like $120 monthly property taxes, and your property insurance, let's say $50, right? And your property management fee, obviously you need to hire a local property manager. That's another challenge you have to face. When we buy via foreclosures, you have to find one. So if they charge 10% of the rent, if the rent is $1,300, for example, 10% is $130 per month, and you factor in maybe 5% vacancy and 5 to 7% maintenance costs per year, then the monthly net cash flow on this particular scenario is probably around $250, maybe $300. Those are the benchmark numbers. And then, by the way, you're buying a VA foreclosures that typically around 20%, maybe more or less, depending on, you know, what location, what property, whatever, below market value. Again, with only 20 grand down, with 5% down, with tremendous low interest rate, you're getting positive cash flow, good, very good return at 20% discount, maybe 25% below market value, because you have to, because the VA seller, they understand you have to incur extra rehab costs. Since they know that, since they know how much is the rehab cost, they are selling you at the list price to factor in to help you somewhat recoup your rehab costs. That's why they lower the value of the property, comparatively speaking, in that neighborhood to factor in the estimated rehab cost. Do that make sense? I think I do. All right. So if the property is listed for $150,000 and there are 5 to 10 other buyers that are bidding against this one particular VA foreclosure property, then some of you are asking, how much should I bid for? Let me give you some example. You know, if you try to play hardball, you say, I'm gonna bid below the list price on this. I'm gonna bid on this 150K house. I'm gonna bid for 130K. You know what's gonna happen? The VA seller gonna receive your offer. They can compare to all the 5 or 10 offers against his house. They will trash can your offer into the dumpster. I hate to be so dramatic. Most likely, you have to bid slightly above 150. It all depends, right? On a case-by-case basis. You may have to, when you submit your offer on this particular situation, most likely you have to bid like 155K, maybe even 160. Because the VA seller, they're not gonna tell you how many people you are competing against. They're gonna tell you, just submit the offer and we'll let you know within 7 days. When you submit your offer, right, the VA seller have like a 3-day window or whatever to receive all the offer on a particular property, right? Then they will pick and choose which one that they will merit serious consideration. Okay, if you bid too low, then like I said, they're gonna trash your offer. They don't even let you know about it. So in order to submit a serious offer, you might have to bid for higher than the list price. Okay, now you know. Wow, the value of the properties. Okay, this PowerPoint, with the exception of the updates that I've just done to this point so far, all the slideshow that you saw has been updated actually as of yesterday. I'm going to show you before and after. I did this PowerPoint 10 years ago when I promoted this VA foreclosure property to another group of students around 10 years ago. I forgot when, but then a few years after that, let's say I promoted this presentation 2010, right now it's 2020, 10 years ago. I left the picture of the property that at that time, what was available in VA foreclosures, 2010. And it can blow your mind. So past performance is obviously no indication of a future potential, but I'm going to show you between 2010, I'm going to show you maybe around 10 properties on the back end of this slideshow coming to you momentarily. What was the price? Well, those VA foreclosures that was available in 2010 or on or about 2010, I forgot when, to be honest. And then the past 10 years, what has transpired? Okay, some of these property will show some great result, but you have to be realistic. I don't think the past 10 years have been really good in real estate. So we don't know about the next 10 years. It may or may not be as good. it all depends on what market, what neighborhood, what property, right? We all know that. You know, buying real estate is local market. It's a local market condition. You cannot, you know, generalize. Each specific neighborhood performs differently in the past and in the future. Okay, so potentially the before and after, then and now, you're getting like 1.5 to 4 times the value between 2010 and 2020 on this set of properties I'm going to show you. Okay, all right, let's go. Do you understand what I just said? Okay, bear with me. Okay, have an open mind. Look at the big picture. Here it is. Here it is. All right, this property, this via foreclosure in back then, I was promoting this. I was talking about this in front of the students 10 years ago at a local adult school, just like you guys sitting in front of your living room right now listening to me. This property 2010 in Pacifica, you know, in the Bay Area. This via foreclosure, $250K at that time. Now, 10 years later, somebody bought this. If somebody bought this with 5% down payment with a VA vendor financing loan, they are smiling all the way to the bank, because right now, this very same property per Zillow, as of yesterday, look at the numbers, 722K. From 250 to 722, this property, I know this is a very exception to the case, has increased his quadrupled the value in the past 10 years. Okay, this is a very exception to the case. All right, let's go on. Another VA foreclosure 10 years ago. Victorville, Southern California, in the Empire Valley. What you call it? Central Valley, Southern California, Victorville, California. At that time, 104. Now, whoever bought this property, do the VA loan, whatever, now is worth 284. We're talking triple the value in the past 10 years. All right, let's go on. Orlando, Florida, 77,000 around. Now, a whopping 244,000. Oh, by the way, before I go any further, I say it again, it bears repeating. Via foreclosures, most of the time, if it is more than 220K right now, with a 5% down, or even with a 10% down, or even more down payment, you should not buy. So the limit, the sweet spot is anywhere from 100 grand to 220 grand in today. That is a desirable property. Anything that's worth more than 220 or 240, most of the time, there are some exceptions to the case, do not buy today. Do not buy via foreclosure or anything, even with 5% down or 25% down. So, right, so this property, 244K, today, I probably wouldn't want to buy it no matter what, because the rent is only going to be like $1,800. So you're not going to cash flow. You're not going to meet the 1% rent to value ratio. Unless you can collect 1% of 244K right now, you need to have a projected rent of $2,400 in order to have cash flow on this property. So you're not going to do it. So there you go. So now you know about buying long-term, buy and hold long-term. You cannot factor in all the current crisis, whatever. As an investor, if you, if you believe it, if you use this long-term buying strategy, you could overcome all the ups and downs of the real estate market. You'll be fine, right? So look at the last 10 years, all the opportunities that people have missed by not investing in real estate, okay? So if this is not a motivation for you, if you look in the past 10 years, using this example, had you pulled the trigger 10 years ago to buy these type of properties, it doesn't have to be via foreclosures. It could be any investment properties, knowing the long-term appreciation potential for any kind of property in good areas. You have to tell yourself that you have to slap yourself silly for not having the courage to pull the action. I don't know, everybody's situation is different. I get it, but for my theoretical basis, the best time to buy real estate It's not in the future. It's not, I want to think about it. It's not, I want to wait until this and that. You know, you make your money when you buy, okay? Because when an investor doesn't want to buy now, imagine if they think the value is high right now, think 10 years from now. 10 years from today, 2030, you did not pull the trigger because all the various excuses you can tell yourself. Oh, I should have, could have, would have bought in 2020. I should have listened to Mr. Yee to buy, turnkey property cash flow right now, or buy via foreclosure right now. I didn't do it. Look, the property have double in value, triple in value since 2020. Now it's 2030, whatever. So you buy real estate and wait, not wait to buy real estate. Okay. All right. I digress. All right. So if that's not a motivation for you, then I don't know what will. So it's all about self-motivation, commitment, to have a sense of urgency, hold the trigger, take action, overcome fear, all the great emotional attribute and characteristics of a successful real estate investor. Okay, let's go on. This foreclosure at that time was via foreclosure 135K. Now in San Antonio, Texas, now it's 224K. Wow. By the way, San Antonio, oh, by the way, as I go over some of these markets are good for today. I'll tell you right now. In fact, let me go back. So sorry. All the California markets I showed before and after, no, today you're not gonna buy any rental properties in California, let alone via foreclosure. Forget it, right? The price is too high. You cannot cash flow. But in the Orlando area, definitely. Orlando there's a lot of military veterans that live there in Florida. And this is the target area for current via foreclosure buying system right now, but not 244K. It'll be slightly lower. You get it? So you have to. So this is one target area, as you know. San Antonio, another great targeting area. As a matter of fact, I was stationed in U.S. Army Fort Sam Houston, Texas, which is right inside San Antonio. So back in 1984, 1985. Yes, long time ago. Great area, great rental market, a lot of military renters. Great area to buy via foreclosures. San Antonio, all right? And another area, this properties in El Paso, Texas, close to a U.S. Army Fort Bliss, very large military installation in El Paso. Good via foreclosure market, El Paso, Texas. At that time, this property is 113K 10 years ago. Now it's 170K. Now you know certain market, you're not going to see too much appreciation, right? So this before and after is a good review to determine, whether you think moving on to the future, how much appreciation you should expect. Again, I do not have a crystal ball, either do you, no one has it, but the past realistic trends, is a good barometer for future appreciation potential in different neighborhoods and different markets. Does that make sense? All right, so yeah. Then Killeen, Texas is also very, very good market. Is located in one of the largest Army base, U.S. Army Fort Hood, Texas, in Killeen, Texas, which is 1 hour and 50 minutes above Austin, Texas. So this is a very good current via foreclosure market. And at that time, this property was worth 84 grand. 10 years later, today is worth 130 grand. Not bad, okay? So even at 130 grand, if you find a property in this location right now via foreclosure property at 130K, you should expect a rent to be around 1,100. So therefore, 5% down, rental financing for investors like you. Oh, by the way, one more that how could I remiss in telling you? Oh, this is so important. Oh, I think it was on my previous slide. So sorry. Listen and listen good. One of the most important qualification to buy, to use the 5% down rent financing for investor, other than what you just heard so far, one major detail I missed, you must be a savvy investor, meaning you must have in the past 24 months, you must own at least one rental property that are documented. So you must have 24 months of rental property experience. All right? So that's the bottom line. If you never own an investment property before today, if you're completely newbie, you will not qualify to buy via foreclosure property using the 5% down payment vendor financing at a favorable 3% rate. You can still buy via foreclosures. You have to pay the conventional down payment, 25% down, whatever, right? Everybody very, very clear? So in order to qualify for vendor financing at 5% down for investor, any investor, you must have at least 2 years of prior rental property experience documented by your tax return. All right, am I very clear? Okay, clear, move on. All right, this property in Clarksville, Tennessee. Clarksville, Tennessee is maybe 50 miles west of Nashville, Tennessee. I was stationed here back in 1981 to 82. I was stationed in U.S. Army Fort Campbell, Kentucky, which is 10 miles north of Clarksville, Tennessee. Clarksville, Tennessee is a very fast growing, no longer a small little town. It's a mid-sized city of a couple of 100,000 people. Very fast growing, believe it or not. It's a good market to buy current via foreclosures. Okay, back then, this property cost $140. Today is $188. So appreciation is not that great, but you can cash flow. Okay, you can put cash flow 5% down today. All right, let's go on. And then Jacksonville, North Carolina, not Florida. Yes, Jacksonville, North Carolina is a military town. It's a U.S. Army Marine Corps have a base there, which is Camp Lejeune. Camp Lejeune, the second largest military base located close to Jacksonville, North Carolina. So this is a military town, good military renters. So this is another good area to buy via foreclosures because of a strong rental market. And at that time, this nice big house cost $157K approximately 10 years ago. This via foreclosure. Now it costs $181. Again, not too much appreciation because it's it's located in that area of North Carolina. All right, then Charlotte, North Carolina, very good area. It's not a military town, but you have a very good rental market, very fast growing, a lot of high tech. Charlotte, pretty close to Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina. It's a high tech triangle place. So 10 years ago, this very huge house, very nice, as you can see. All these nice looking properties are no older than 20 years old. A lot of these via foreclosures are good, high quality properties, very new, very contemporary. So cookie cutter, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, is like, I would say it's like a B neighborhood, B as in boy, B class neighborhood, some C plus, some even B plus, it all depends. But this nice property at that time, 179K, now is 352, more than double in the past 10 years. Fayetteville, North Carolina, also good market. U.S. Army Fort Bragg, the home of the 82nd Airborne Division, U.S. Army. Very large base. It's a very good rental market, especially for active duty soldiers. They were more than happy to pay you rent. Their rent comes from an extra housing allowance. How I know? Because I'm ex-military. I was in finance. I went back in those days when I was in active duty for the past 20 years. I do in processing and out processing of soldiers. So when they come in, When they move to a new duty station, I provide them a housing allowance above and beyond their base pay so they can live off post on this kind of properties. So they have more than enough money to pay you rent. Military renters makes the best renters because they have guaranteed money, rent money, just like Section 8, right? Government Section 8 housing, you know, guaranteed money, but you're not renting to a Section 8 renter per se. You're renting to a active duty soldier that Uncle Sam will pay you your rent almost guaranteed, at least as long as this military renters stay at the duty station for 2 or 3 years at a time. But, you know, they do, bad things also, right? Just like any other renter, they could be kicked out of the military for unknown reasons, for various reasons, and then they have to leave your house. So although it's guaranteed in a way, but military members, they do get into trouble, or sometimes they get deployed quickly to somewhere else, mission requirements, then they have to leave the house, and you have to short of their rental contract timeline, but military mission first. So they leave early from being a tenant, but you cannot, by law, you have to allow them to go because military mission supersede everything else. So you have to let them go and find another renter, but that's fine, no big deal. All right, this property, Fayetteville, North Carolina, is at that time 99,000. 10 years later, now 159K. So not bad. And Raleigh, North Carolina, also very good. A lot of military people live in this very, very good area, fast growing, high tech, everything else. Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, right? And then Charlotte, which is down the road, an hour and a half away. So Raleigh is a good market. At that time, 136K, now it's 252K. And then San Diego, for some lucky folk out there that are able to purchase this via foreclosure 10 years ago for 128K on this condo in San Diego. The highly desirable San Diego market, forever, great area. I will make the argument, if anybody want to go to live in Southern California, San Diego could be the #1 on someone's list. Not LA, not Orange County. San Diego is a very, very good market. At that time, this condo was 128K, I think. Now is 337K, double the value, easy. And then, of course, Southern California at the Inland Empire, Lancaster, California. At that time, 132K. Now is 355K, triple the return. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's about it. Okay, I'm not here to promote self-promotion. This is purely educational. But all right, so with that in mind, I conclude this presentation. So I'm going to start recording.